I was erased from Easter dinner, then billed for brunch, so I cut off their accounts I paid and refused to sign the house sale. $15.40, your share of the catered brunch. I sent back $5.40 with a note. I did not break bread. I am not breaking bank. Then I canceled their Instacart, locked the shared Prime account, and requested a refund on every order shipped to their zip code. 2 days later, my mom sent, "We cannot even get eggs. What did you do?" I found out I was not invited to Easter dinner through a Facebook post. It was a photo of my mom's dining room, the same room where we used to cram a folding table next to the real one so the kids could sit too, even though most of us had bills and mortgages by now. The table was decked out like something from a magazine. Glazed ham, deviled eggs with little paprika designs, those pastel napkins she irons every year. The caption said, "Family is everything." It took me a few seconds to register what I was looking at, not because it was not beautiful, it was, but because I had not even been invited. I kept scrolling, half thinking maybe I missed a message or email, but there was nothing, just a photo and all the comments from family. "So beautiful, Lynn. Looks amazing. So glad we could all be together." I texted my sister, "Just a quick, are you at mom's today?" She replied almost immediately, "Yeah, everyone is here. Why?" That why was the part that hit me, like I should have known I was not invited. I called my mom that night. I kept it short. I asked her straight up if I was supposed to be there. She said, "We thought it would be better this way. You always ruin everything. We just wanted a peaceful holiday." And then she hung up. No specifics, no examples, just that vague crap they always throw out when they want to avoid admitting anything. Like when I stopped talking to my dad for 6 months after he tried to put a global positioning system tracker in my car just to be safe. Or when I backed out of helping my cousin move after he called me a freeloading loser for living in an apartment instead of buying a house. It was not even about Easter anymore. It was the fact that they did not even have the decency to tell me up front. They just went ahead and erased me from the holiday like I was some kind of burden. The next morning, I woke up to a notification on my phone, a Cash App request from my sister. $540, your share for brunch. I laughed out loud, literally sat up in bed and laughed. I sent her $5.40 with a note. I did not break the bread. I am not breaking the bank. Then I got to work. I canceled the Instacart order my mom had set up through my account. No more prepaid groceries. No more toilet paper delivered every Friday. I went into our shared Amazon Prime account and removed every single address that was not mine. Then I spent an hour going through the order history, flagging every purchase sent to their zip code as unauthorized. Half of them were refunded within minutes. I did not hear anything for 2 days. Then came the text from my mom, "We cannot even buy eggs. What did you do?" I did not respond, not because I did not have anything to say, but because I knew they did not actually want an answer. They wanted me to roll over like I always did. Pretend like they did not just exile me from the one holiday I have always shown up for no matter what, but not this time. This time they were going to feel it, and I was just getting started. After that text, "We cannot even buy eggs, what did you do?" I did not respond. I was not even tempted. It was the first time in years I felt like I had the upper hand with them, and I was not about to waste it on a guilt trip. 3 days later, my sister started blowing up my phone. Missed calls, voice messages, texts that range from passive-aggressive to straight-up insults. "This is petty, Richard. Seriously, over one dinner? Get over yourself." Then, of course, came the attempt at shaming me. "Mom has been crying. She has not been sleeping. You are really proud of this?" The irony. They exiled me from Easter, send me a bill, and now I am the one who should feel guilty. What they did not know was that I had been the quiet backbone for a long time. I had paid for Netflix, Hulu, Prime, and Spotify under the family plan. I covered half the groceries most months without anyone asking, just because I could. I helped my sister out with rent twice last year when she could not make it work with freelance. And somehow they still decided I was the problem. I started cleaning house. I changed all the passwords. I locked them out of every shared subscription. Then I made a list of every digital thing tied to my accounts, Ring camera access for my mom's place, Nest settings for their thermostat, my home box office login on 3 of their televisions, and wiped it all. There were emails. Then came a flurry of notifications. Password reset requested. New device login attempt blocked. I did not say anything, just watched the confusion grow. But the thing that really told me it was working, my dad emailed me, not called, emailed. Subject line, "Let us be adults." The body of it, just 2 lines. "You are not a little kid anymore. You do not need to be included in everything. We all have our own lives." That pissed me off more than anything else. Not because it was not true, I am an adult, but because of the smug way he framed it, like I was acting out because I missed an Easter egg hunt. Not because they lied, excluded me, and sent me a damn invoice. And still, I almost doubted myself. I sat with it for a couple of days, wondering if I was overreacting, if I really had made too big a deal out of it. Maybe I had ruined past holidays somehow without realizing it. Maybe I was the one who made things tense. Then my grandfather called. He asked, simple as anything, "Why were not you there for Easter?" I told him the truth. He went quiet, then sighed. Said he almost left after 10 minutes. Told me my parents claimed I was too busy to make it. That he and my dad had an argument over it in the kitchen. Apparently it got bad enough that Grandpa ended up eating alone on the patio while everyone else stayed inside pretending nothing happened. I did not even take home leftovers, he said, did not feel like they were mine. And that is when everything settled in. They had not just left me out, they had lied about it. Told my grandfather, who used to drive me to school every day when my parents could not be bothered, that I was too busy for them. They erased me, then rewrote the story to suit themselves. After that call, I was done playing nice. When my niece's school fundraiser invite landed in my inbox, I did not even open it. When my sister texted me for help resetting Hulu, I left her on read. I was through being useful on demand. 2 weeks later, I got the text from my mom, "Richard, we really need your help. Can you send $2,900? It is an emergency. We will pay it back, please." There was no explanation, no apology, just a number and a desperate request. I did not hesitate. No. No follow-up, no sorry cannot. No softening it with a reason, just no. I blocked her number for the rest of the week, and for the first time I did not feel bad about it. After I refused to send the $2,900, there was a weird silence. Not the angry kind, just quiet. No texts, no emails, no half-hearted attempts to guilt me back into the fold. It was like they collectively decided to pretend I did not exist. I knew how they worked. This was not surrender. This was regrouping. They were used to me caving, so they waited. And when I did not, they moved on without me. I was not expecting a parade, but I guess I thought there would be something, maybe a begrudging apology or even just an excuse. Anything to acknowledge the fact that I had basically been erased. Instead, I found out about my dad's 60th birthday party from my cousin Nick's Instagram story. Big backyard setup, full white tent, live jazz trio in the corner, heat lamps, table runners. My mom was there in some sparkly jacket she probably bought for the occasion, holding a huge cake with gold lettering that said, "Cheers to 60 years. Everyone was there. I tapped through the videos like I was watching someone else's family, my sister laughing with a wine glass in one hand, my Aunt Carol dancing in heels she could barely stand in. Even my cousin Gabe, who lives in Oregon and has not come home for any holiday in the past 5 years. No one had sent me a text, no one had even tried to make it look like an oversight. They just excluded me again like it was the most natural thing in the world. I did not get mad right away. I just sat there watching those clips in my apartment, the hum of my fridge the only sound. I did not feel angry. I felt like I had finally reached the edge of something, like they had drawn the line in permanent marker this time. The next morning, Grandpa called. He does not do pleasantries when he is upset. He jumped straight in. He said, "You know, I left that party early, right?" I did not. He told me he had asked my dad where I was. And my dad, apparently without blinking, said I did not feel like coming. No pause, no acknowledgement of the history, just that flat lie. And Grandpa, God bless that man, did not let it slide. He said he called my dad a liar loud enough that people stopped eating. He said, "Do not pretend he was not invited. You think I do not know what you were doing." He told me the room got quiet and no one said anything. Not my mom, not my sister, not the cousins. Nobody defended me. They just stood there and let Grandpa yell, then awkwardly moved on. He said he left right after. Did not even wait for them to cut the cake. I did not know what to say to that. I just sat there holding my phone, listening to this 76-year-old man apologize for the rest of our family. Then he said something I will never forget. "You were not the problem, Richard. You were just the one they got used to using, and they do not like that you stopped being useful." It hit me harder than anything else had because deep down I had wondered the same thing, not just recently, for years. Had I really been that hard to be around? Was I the one ruining holidays, or was I just the only one who did not play along when things got fake? And still after Grandpa's call, I kept waiting for someone to reach out, just one person to break ranks and say, "Hey, this is not right," but nobody did. Not a text, not a missed call, nothing. I was not even sure what hurt more, that I was excluded or that nobody seemed to care that I noticed. I kept waiting for the backlash after Grandpa left the party early and called my dad a liar. I mean, someone had to say something. He did not just walk out quietly, he told them off loudly in front of everyone. I figured someone would reach out, maybe to apologize, maybe to save face. Instead, total silence. Not a single call, not one text, no passive-aggressive memes from Sarah. "No, are you okay?" from Nick. Nothing. It was like they had all taken some family-wide vow of denial, like if they did not speak my name, I would not exist. I had always thought our family was dysfunctional in a typical way. Little lies, unspoken grudges, the usual mix of guilt and obligation. But this was something else. They were rewriting history in real time, deleting me out of the narrative and locking the door behind them. I did not expect to be missed, but I did not expect to be erased. A week after the party, Sarah finally broke the silence. She sent one text, just one. "Let us not drag Grandpa into this. He is old. He does not get it." That actually made me laugh. Like the 76-year-old man who had sat through every holiday dinner and bailed them out financially more than once, did not get it. "He gets it better than anyone," I replied. No answer. 3 days later, I got a voicemail from my dad. He never calls, ever. The man will text me full paragraphs before he dials a number. He said, "Heard what your grandfather said at the party. I think we all need to cool off. You are still part of the family, but maybe this distance is good for now. Sometimes people just need space." Space from what? Being treated like I did not exist? Getting billed for brunch I was not invited to? I did not respond. Instead, I started cleaning house for real. I did not just delete their access to stuff. I started tracking what I had paid for. Over the past 2 years, I opened my bank statements, receipts, digital invoices. Turns out between groceries, streaming, gifts, and utilities, I had spent over $12,000 on that family since 2023. 12 grand to be treated like an afterthought. The part that really got me, though, I found a Venmo from last year, $1,100 to Sarah. The caption said, "Emergency vet visit." I would send it without asking questions. That vet bill I found out later from her ex, she never even took the cat in. They used the money for concert tickets. So yeah, I was done. And then came the twist. I was at work getting through emails when I got a call from an unknown number. I do not usually answer those, but something told me to pick up. It was Grandpa from a different phone. He sounded pissed. Apparently, my dad had shown up at his house that morning, not to apologize, not to talk, but to warn him to stop stirring things up. Said I was manipulating the family and that Grandpa needed to stop defending me. Grandpa told him to leave. And here is where it got weird. He said, "Your dad is trying to push me into an assisted living place." Said, "I am not safe on my own anymore." This after one disagreement, I froze. That was not just a petty argument, that was retaliation. "Do not worry," Grandpa said, "I am not going anywhere. I have already called my lawyer." I told him I would help however I could. He just laughed and said, "Funny, is it not? I raised that man. Now he is scared of the one person who still sees through his crap." It hit me then. I was not just out of the family. I was the new threat. The inconvenient truth they could not bury anymore. They had not frozen me out because I was useless. They had frozen me out because I stopped being easy. After that call from Grandpa, I could not stop thinking about what my dad tried to pull, trying to shove him into an assisted living facility over one argument. That was not just disrespect. It was calculated. The kind of move someone makes when they are trying to eliminate the last person in the room willing to call them out. And it told me everything I needed to know. This was not about Easter or brunch money or whatever they told themselves. This was about control, about who plays the game and who does not. Grandpa did not play, and now neither did I. I offered to drive out there and help him if things escalated, but he waved it off. Said he had people, a lawyer, backup plans. That man is tougher than anyone gives him credit for. But I still made a decision that night. I started documenting everything, not because I planned to sue anyone or stir the pot, but because I realize how easily these people rewrite stories. Today it is Richard did not want to come. Tomorrow it is Richard made Grandpa paranoid or he has always been unstable. So I made a folder. Screenshots, voicemails, payment receipts, old messages. I put it all in one place. It felt insane doing it, but after what they pulled, I did not care how it looked. I knew who I was dealing with now. A week passed, nothing. Then out of nowhere, I got a text from a number I did not recognize. It was my dad, new number. He wrote, "We are having a small dinner next week, just immediate family, no drama. If you want to come, let me know." No mention of what happened, no acknowledgement of Grandpa, no sorry, just a bland olive branch like I was supposed to be grateful for the crumbs. I did not reply. 3 days later, Grandpa called again. "You were not invited to dinner, were you?" I told him technically I was. He laughed, then said, "Yeah, well, you did not miss anything. Turns out the small dinner was a guilt parade." My dad toasted to resilience and moving forward. My mom made a speech about learning from family tension. They acted like everything was fine. Grandpa was there but barely spoke. He said he left early again, but this time it was not quiet. As he was leaving, my mom apparently tried to hand him a box of leftovers. He refused. Then he looked around the room and said, "You are all fine pretending, but do not expect Richard to crawl back just because you missed having someone to dump on." Dead silence. He walked out. I could not believe it. I asked him what happened after. He said nothing. They did not chase me. They just sat there and let me go. That is when I realized they were not confused about what they were doing. They were not trying to fix anything. They just accepted life without me, so long as it was on their terms. But what they had not accepted yet was that I was okay with that too. 2 weeks after that dinner, I got another message. This time it was from Sarah. "Hey, I know things have been weird, but Mom and Dad need help. It is serious this time. Can we talk?" I did not answer right away. I left it sitting there for 2 hours, rereading it like maybe the wording would change, but it did not. Just vague enough to feign concern, just polite enough to avoid admitting anything real. So I finally replied, "Depends what help means." She sent me a wall of text. Their car broke down. Their insurance did not cover what they thought. Their savings were lower than expected. And worst of all, my dad lost the freelance contract that had been paying the mortgage. They were behind. Way behind. They needed $2,900, the exact number they had asked for the first time. I guess they thought if they circled back with a fresh sob story, I would cave. I did not. I texted one word, "No." There was a pause. 10 minutes maybe. Then she sent another message, "You are really going to let your own parents struggle?" And right there I saw the game again. It was not about whether they deserved help, it was about whether I would feel bad enough to give it anyway. I did not answer. I blocked the number. Then a week later I got a message from someone I had not heard from in over 1 year, my cousin Gabe. He said, "Hey, just wanted to say I get it. You have been right. A lot of us just did not want to get involved." I stared at that for a long time. I wanted to believe it meant something, that maybe someone else saw what I saw. But then he added, "Still, family is family, right?" And that ruined it. That line, family is family, like blood means you get to be awful and still expect a seat at the table. Like history entitles you to forgiveness. I did not reply. A few days later was my dad's actual birthday, his real one, not the backyard show for Instagram. My mom threw another party. Smaller, just close family. I was not invited again, obviously. But this time, Grandpa did not just leave early. He made sure to be heard. He gave a toast. Apparently waited until everyone had a drink in hand and said, "Here is to Ken. May he someday apologize to the one person in this family who ever stood up for himself." Then he sat down. No one clapped. No one laughed. Just a quiet shift in the air, like the room finally realized something ugly was sitting at the table with them. Later that night, Grandpa called me and told me everything. He sounded tired, not just from the party, but from being the only one calling things out. "You are not wrong, Richard," he said. "You just stop pretending. That is not a crime." That stuck with me because it is not that I do not care. It is not that I want them to fail or struggle or fall apart, but I am done being the one who pays the toll to cross the same burned bridge over and over again. They had their chances, and they used every one of them to show me who they really are. So this time, I stayed gone. About 3 weeks after Grandpa's second walkout, just when I thought I'd heard the last from them, something unexpected happened. Not a text, not a call, not a knock, but a subpoena. Yeah, a subpoena. At first, I thought it was some mistake. The envelope had my name, but no real context. Inside was a court summons tied to some kind of property dispute involving my parents. I had no clue what it meant, until I called the clerk and found out my name was on a house deed, their house. I had co-signed a refinance for them back in 2020, something I had almost forgotten about. Now they were trying to sell the place and needed my signature to move forward. I was stunned. They had not mentioned a word about this in any of our "we need help please" messages. They were just trying to go around me quietly like I was some formality, like I was supposed to just stamp and disappear. Instead of getting angry, I got curious. So I showed up not to the house, God no, but to the buyer meeting. I called the real estate agent, said I was one of the listed owners, and asked to sit in. He did not hesitate. I wore a plain shirt. Nothing fancy, just enough to look official. When I walked into that conference room and saw their faces, you would think they had seen a ghost. My mom looked like she was going to faint. My dad froze mid-sentence. Sarah was there too, holding a folder and trying way too hard to act like she was not freaking out. I sat down and said, calm as ever, "I figured I should be here since this technically involves me." There was silence. The agent started talking, unaware of the tension in the room. He ran through the paperwork, then looked at me and asked if I had any questions. I said, "Yeah, just one. When were you planning to tell me?" My dad started to speak, but I cut him off. "You needed help, right? And you did not even ask. You just assumed I would roll over like I always do. So, here is my answer. No, I'm not signing anything." Sarah tried to jump in, saying they had already made plans, that buyers were lined up, that I was being dramatic. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You should have thought about that before erasing me from the family calendar." Then I left. Later that night, I got a text from an unknown number, just one line, "You are doing this for revenge." I replied, "No, I am doing this because I finally can." And the best part, Grandpa called me the next morning laughing. He had heard what happened from someone at the county office, said he wished he had been there to see the look on their faces. Then he paused and said, "They have not been used to you showing up on your terms. Neither was I, but I was starting to like it.